everyone. My name is Geraldine Idar, and today I am going to share with you one of the philosophical foundation of education, the psychological theory of behaviorism. Heard about, right? Definitely yes, because this philosophy plays a major and tremendous influence in our daily lives and our educational system. But before that, I want to emphasize that the humanity had a philosophy of education long before the study of education began, and before people understood what that study could mean in our educational development. And even the pre-literate education had a philosophical attitude about life. And all this educational philosophy becomes significant when educators begin to recognize the need to think clearly and to see what they are doing in a larger context of individual and social development. However, this study of philosophy does not guarantee people will be better thinkers or educators, but it does provide valuable perspective to help people think more clearly and learning how to use ideas in better. Behaviorism resembles the behaviorist belief that behavior is caused by environmental conditions, and that is indebted to materialistic philosophy that is reality is primarily matter and motion, and that all behavioral phenomena can be explained in those terms. Thus, one realist element of behaviorism includes going from particular facts to observable facts to forms or behavioral laws. Behaviorists think that human traits of personality, character, integrity, and so forth are the result of behaving in certain ways. These traits are not internally determined by each individual, but come from the behavioral patterns developed through environmental conditioning. Thus, one can detect patterns and processes by which behaviors comes about. Thus, it is possible behaviorists maintain to discern the laws of behavior and thereby come to exercise to control over them. Understand clearly about the behaviorism theory, let me ask you these questions. Who have known Thomas Hobbes, Ivan Pavlov, John B. Watson, and B.F. Skinners? Obviously, they are not my neighbors. Well, it's time for us to know these persons, not just the famous dog of Ivan Pavlov. Exponent of mechanistic materialism, Thomas Hobbes. According to him, life is simply motion. He thought that the human mind connects with the environmental objects by way of the senses. Motion is vital, unacquired, or called materialism. Life is simply motion. One can say that a machine has life. By the same token, an organized society is like a machine. It has an artificial life that has to be maintained. Even biological natural life is mechanistic in the sense that it operates according to its own design. To put it simply, the significant thing to observe is the behavior of a body in an one is the operant conditioning, and the other is the famous experiment with dogs, the classical conditioning of Ivan Pavlov. Classical conditioning is a reflexive or automatic type of learning in which a stimulus acquires the capacity to evoke a response that was originally evoked by another stimulus. Pavlov found that when a bell is rung each time a dog is fed, the dog is conditioned to associate the sound of the bell with the food. Subsequently, when the bell is sounded, the dog psychologically anticipates food. In Pavlov's study shows that the bodily response is not based on something mental going on inside the dog. Rather, the response is made on the basis of conditioning, and conditioning can be explained by external circumstances. Give me a dozen of healthy infants, well-formed, and my own specified world will bring them up in, and I'll guarantee to take anyone at random and train him to become any type of specialist I might select. Doctor, lawyer, artist, merchant, and yes, even bigger manatee. Regardless of his talents, penchants, tendencies, abilities, vocations, and race of his ancestors. In other words, if the person started with a healthy body at birth, it would be possible through proper behavioral conditioning to make a person genius, a gentleman, a rowdy, or a thug. Yes, he thought that the environment is a primary shaper of a behavior and maintained that if he could control a child environment, then he could engineer the child into a kind of person desired. Amazing, right? And the next proponent that says, give me a child and I'll shape him into anything is B.F. Skinner, who is the father of operant conditioning. This method of learning occurs through rewards and punishment. The positive reinforcement means that you are adding something. Example, your teacher will give you 20-point plus if you complete your homework because 20-point plus, and that's something pleasant. And the consequences is that you will complete your homework, and that's shaping and strengthening your behavior of completing your homework again in the future. The negative reinforcement means that you are taking something away. You remove an unpleasant consequences following a response, also making it more likely that you will do this behavior again in the future. Example, if you do not complete your homework, you will give your teacher a 50 pesos. And then, you will complete your homework to avoid paying your teacher. Then, you will repeat the behavior of completing homework to avoid unpleasant consequences of paying 50 pesos. And that is strengthening your behavior of completing homework again in the future. Skinner strongly championed behaviorism and techniques of behavioral engineering as an educational method that is more practical and produces greater results than. Let's talk about the role of teachers in all of this theory. All teachers use behavioral techniques of one kind or another in their classrooms. Do you agree with me or not? Yes, this is true, even if they are not aware of this fact. Well, let us just remember that one of the most important things a teacher can do is to learn the theory and the techniques on conditioning process and use them effectively. Surely teachers can make a difference if they act cooperatively and intelligently. Before I end, let me leave to you this quote by Alfie Kahn and Ivan Pavlov on behaviorism says, the legacy of behaviorism, do this and you'll get that. And don't become a mere recorder of facts, but try to penetrate the mystery of their origin. Thank you everyone. God bless.